Alright, today we're going to be multiplying decimals by powers of 10. 10 to the second power, 10 to the third power, 10 to the fourth power. So our problem of the day. Garcia worked 8 and 2/10 hours, 6 and 9/10 hours, 10 and 1/10 hours, and 8 and 6/10 hours, and 8 and 9/10 hours this week. She worked about 8 hours longer than last week. About how many hours did she work last week? So what's the first thing we need to do? There's two problems here. What's the first problem we're going to solve? Yes, Avery.
8 and 2, 7 is 69, 10 and 1, and 8 and 6 all added together.
Well, you left one out.
Oh.
Why are we going to add all those together? What are we solving for?
Because we have to know that to know how many hours.
We're going to add all those together to find out how much she worked this week.
And then you add the 8 on it to see what they worked last week.
Alright, let's reread the next sentence, Avery. She worked about 8 hours longer than last week. So what are we going to do to find out? After we add that together, what are we going to do to find out last week's hours? Subtract 8. Okay? So then we're going to subtract this 8. Okay? So on your whiteboards. Alright. So we have 8 and 2/10. We're going to add these, so that means we need to line up our decimals. 6 and 9/10. 10 and 1/10. 8 and 6/10. 8 and 9/10. So we're going to add all that together. 2, 11, 12, 18, 27. 10, 16, 24, 32. 42.7 hours. Second part I said what I had to do was subtract 8. Seven subtract 0 is 7. 2 subtract 8, can't do it. So she worked 34 and 7/10 hours last week. Okay? I was looking around. Biggest mistake I saw was that we didn't line up our decimals. People. Yeah? And some of us left some numbers out, so let's make sure that we follow along correctly, okay? Don't leave numbers out. You get a word problem, if you leave one of these numbers out, the whole problem's wrong, okay? Did I mess up?
It's about.
Oh, there you go. About. Eight, 7, 10, 9. So we did about 18, 28, 35. I'm sorry, I missed the about. So that's how you get your 35 hours. Round them all first. Round and then solve. Make sure you find words like that. Okay. You have 5 warm-up problems. Get started. Alright. So, there's your answers. All of our answers match up. Good job. Alright. Just take this in for a minute. We have 3 different little charts here. One says 86 hundredths times 10 equals 8 and 6 tenths. 86 hundredths times 100 equals 86. 86 tenths times 1,000 equals 860. Then across from that we have 9 and 5 tenths times 10 to the first power is 95. 9 and 5 tenths times 10 to the second power is 950. 9 and 5 tenths times 10 to the third power is 9,500. Okay. And we have 2 and 57 hundredths times 10 to the first is 25 and 7 tenths. 2 and 57 hundredths times 10 to the second equals 257. And 10 and 57 hundredths times 10 to the third is 2,570. So, does anybody notice a pattern? There is a very, very... Natali? No, I mean a pattern of what's going on with these charts. Does anybody see a pattern of what's going on with these charts? Nobody sees it? You do? What is it?
Can I do this?
Huh?
This one is 95. This one you add a 0, and then you add 2 zeros on that one, so then make the
The decimal moves to the right how many places on 10 to the first? 1. How many places does it move when you multiply it by 10? 1, right? Because it moved from here to there. Right? Okay? How many places did it move when you multiply by 100? So it moved once, it moved twice. 10 to the second, how many places did it move? And how many places did it move when we multiply by 1,000? And how many places on 10 to the third? Is it the same down here? Yes. Okay, so our pattern is, let's say I had this. I don't want you to do any math, I just want you to tell me how many places I have to move the decimal. You move the decimal 5 places. So I'm going to go 3 and 5, 57 hundredths. 1, 2, 3. What do I put there? 4, 5. I'm done. 357,000. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be multiplying by powers of 10. So we're going to take our decimals, multiply by powers of 10. So all we're going to be doing is what? No, we're going to be moving the decimals. That's all we're going to be doing, is moving decimals around, adding zeros, that kind of stuff. Alright? So let's pay attention to what we're supposed to be doing here. Alright, so here's your examples. It says Josh will need to make 10 payments of $32.25 to purchase a new skimboard. What is the total payment of the skimboard? Well, how many places am I going to move the decimal if I multiply by 10? How many? 1. So what's it actually going to cost? You said I have to move it one place, right? So I'm going to do it over here on our own, and then we're going to go over and check everything out. So there I go. I have that, right? We're multiplying it by 10, so you said I move it once. There, right? Now this is dollars and cents, so I'm going to add a 0 after the 5. Okay? So, how much is that skimboard going to cost? $322.50. All right, so let's go here and find out. So we're going to find $32.25 times 10. So they have it set up for us. The non-zero digits are the same. There. So we start off with just the zeros down here in our answer, and then there's our placeholder. So our placeholder is what makes the decimal move. Do you guys see that? Because look, we have 2 decimal places, right? Where our placeholder takes up one of those decimal places. And the more zeros that you have in the number, the more placeholders you're going to have. Okay? So multiplying the decimal by 10 moves the decimal one place to the right. You guys already knew that. We did that. So the skimboard costs $322.50. Alright, so if we were to multiply this by 100, according to what they're telling me, 32 and 25, right, 100, I would have 2 placeholders to get rid of both my zeros, okay? Then I would have the problem. Then I would count my decimals, and I would say that there's 2 decimals, count in. So my decimal moved 2 places to the right. Alright? Or I could count my zeros, say it has to move 2 places to the right, and move it. So far so good? Alright. Numbers like 10, 100, and 1000 are powers of 10. They can be written with exponents with a base of 10. Okay? Our chart did this. So if we go back, you can see 10, 10 to the first, 100, 10 to the second, 1000, 10 to the third, 10 to the first, 10 to the second, 10 to the third. It tells you how many zeros fall after the 1. If it's to the first power, there's only 1 0 that falls after the 1. If it's to the 5th power, how many zeros fall after the 1? How many? 5. And that would be, what number would that be? 10 to the 5th power. Sammy? 100,000. Alright, so let's go back to where we were. Here we go. So the 0 and the 10 is the exponent of 1. There are 2 zeros in 100, the exponent is 2. 3 in 1,000, the exponent is 3, so on and so forth. So whatever the exponent is, the exponent, the number up here in the corner, that's how many zeros there are. Okay? Now, we're going to find 24 and 7/10 times 10 to the 2nd power. One way is to multiply it out. Since 10 to the 2nd power equals 100, you can find 224 and 7/10 times 100. And so they're going over here and they start off with 0, and 0 times 7 is 0, 0 times 4 is 0, and 0 times 2 is 0. And then there's a placeholder, and then they go the same thing. 0 times 7 is 0, 0 times 4 is 0, 0 times 2 is 0, and then they have 2 placeholders. Okay? 2 placeholders. Then they come through and they go 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 2 is 2. You add all this up, well, these zeros don't matter when you're adding. So we have 0, 0, 7, 4, 2. Then we count our decimals. How many are there? How many decimal places are there? 1. So I count in 1. There's my decimal. So I have 2,470. Okay? Now, this is what you call annexing the zero. Annex a zero. Excuse me. Alright? So because there's 2 zeros, I'm just going to move the decimal 2 places to the right. When I do that, I annex a 0. I add a 0. Remember, if I have a decimal, this is equal to that. Okay? Because those two are equal, I can add as many zeros as I want in order to move my decimal when I'm moving my decimal. Okay? That's the answer, 32, 322, 50. So these are the answers from our notes. You can tell today's going to be a really rough day. Alright. Now, because of that, we're going to have plenty of time. We're going to show our answers in 2 ways, okay? So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually multiply this up. Now, I am okay with you doing this. Bring your 0 down as a placeholder and then multiply out. Then, count up your decimal places, move it. Then what you can also do, or what you will also do, I should say, because it's multiplied by 10, I'm going to move my decimal 1 place to the right. So I want you to show me how you moved it. Okay? My answer is 5 4/10. So we're doing it 2 different ways. We're going to multiply it, and then we're just going to move the decimal. Okay? You're going to do both to make sure that your answers match. Can we do that? Okay? So, example number 2, we have 8 32/100 times 100. Okay? You can bring both the zeros down. That's okay with me. Once you bring both zeros down as placeholders, we can multiply this out. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 8 is 8. I have 2 decimal places. So my answer is what? What's my answer? 832. So, we can solve it the same way by starting off with 8 32/100. How many zeros do I have? So how many places do I move my decimal? 1, 2. So I have 832. Alright. We don't need the zeros after the decimal. We can just put 832. Okay. Last one. 7 46/100 times 1,000. How many zeros are here? 3 zeros. So, I'll do this one this way first before I multiply. How many times am I moving my decimal to the right? 3. 1, 2, and what do I have to do here? It's called something special. I need to annex a 0. There you go. Boom, and I'm done. So I have 7,460. Now I come over here. I'm going to multiply it out just to make sure that, yes, that's what I did. Okay? I have 1, 2, 3, 6, 4, 7. I have 1, 2 decimal places. Did I get the same answer?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. So So we're going to do it both ways so we can check our answers, okay? Can we handle that so far? Very good. So we're going to do our independent practice, multiply. It's all, look at, now, of course, they had me show you ones that were not in powers. These are in powers. Are you guys okay with the powers?
Yes.
All that tells you is how many zeros come after the 1. Okay? Just because there's a 10 here doesn't mean that you add 3 more zeros. It means that there's 3 zeros after the 1. So that's 1,000. Okay? Isaiah, we good? Alright. There's more. So you're going to keep going. Alright, the algebra. Just because they put a letter after the equal sign. It's just, that's what it's equal to, okay? So we have 16, 10 flutes. Carton of milk. 10 to the second power. How many cartons of milk are there?
100.
100, very good. 18. Titus and Cam's hourly charge for yard workers shown. Titus charges 8 1/4. Cam charges $5.58. They each work 10 hours. How much do they earn together? 19. The dog is 10 times the length of her hamster. She has a very small dog. $20 and $21. All right. If you need help finding your answers will be
On the video.
on our YouTube video. You guys have the next 12 minutes, 10 minutes to work on this.